All right, so you're the sixth guest in the Good Folks podcast. Welcome to our show, Nassim. What's your second name?
Belkahla.
Belkahla. All right, but you're known as the practice makes perfect kind of person.
Yeah, true. First of all, thank you so much for having me. And actually, many people call me John because my first Facebook account was John, and it's still John. And then practice makes perfect. So I speak all the time in English, so they see me like John, not Nassim. You see?
Yeah, your Facebook is John Lee.
Yeah.
How did you come up with this name?
Many people don't believe the story, but my very first name. Before I had my own name.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I started, studying English and teaching English, I changed my name into English speaker. My Facebook name was Facebook speaker. Then I got a message from Facebook saying this, like, English speaker is not a name. You need to come up with your real name. So I put my real name, which is Nassim Belkahla. They sent me a message saying, no, this name already exists, so you have to come up with another name. So I was, I put all the names, like Nassim, Nassimo, like I tried nicknames, didn't work. And I don't know how this John Lee, popped up in my mind, and I used it, and they accepted it.
Facebook didn't approve your real name?
Yeah, because I used it before in another account. They say, no, it already exists, so we need another name.
But there is the option, like, to send your ID, right?
I
Just
did.
take a picture of your ID.
I didn't have that in mind at that time, but what I did, in brackets, I put if you go and check, you will find my name in brackets, Nassim Belkahla.
All right, so that people can recognize the John Lee account.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. And I don't think that you want to change your Facebook in any time.
I tried to be honest.
Like just to open like a new account.
Yeah, no, not open a new account. I tried to come up with my name, Nassim Belkahla, because after all, this is my name, but I couldn't. Whenever, I set up this name, John Lee, like 3 years ago or something like that, and whenever I try to change it, I don't succeed. People tell me, like, normally after 6 months or so, something like that, you can change your name. But I tried many times and it didn't work.
There is also a limited number of times, like to change your name. I think that it's like 5 times or 4 times.
I think I exceeded that name. Maybe it's due to that.
All right.
Yeah.
So you're known as the motivating English teacher online.
Mm-hmm.
You do videos, you post things every single day about how to improve your English, how to improve your speaking. Like, you're very passionate about this field.
Yeah, I am.
And what's driving that passion? Like, what's giving you all that energy to do all what you're doing online?
Okay. By the way, I do consider myself as an inspiration. I'm saying that not because to brag or something,
Mm-hmm.
just to let you know that before, when I was a student, I used to be an introvert. I was not as sociable as I am now, and I wouldn't have thought that one day I would have my page going live. Maybe you are in the field, and it's difficult to face people smiling in front of others talking. I didn't think that one day I will be able to do that. But first of all, before answering your question, it's a message that I would like to convey, that we can do everything and we can exceed the limits. Because sometimes I speak with the people, and the very first maybe mistake or the very first hindrance that people find not to speak English, they say, I am shy, I cannot talk to the others. I was this kind of people. But once I said, okay, I have to close that door, open a new one, and I have to challenge myself. It's impossible. Like, people change. People do change. And I remember, like any other students, any other English lovers, I was like watching other Facebook pages, people from Algeria, outside of Algeria, people who were making videos, helping others. And I remember I was following a Palestinian guy who was trying to give this kind of lives, this kind of lessons, and I said, hey, I think I can do the same. And believe me, it was at night, I was watching the videos and everything, and I said, okay, I decided I decided to create my own Facebook page, and I was okay. The very first step is to create a name for my page. I was thinking like English with Nassim, you know, all the other pages like English with English with John, English with Nassim, English I don't know. I wanted to be a bit different, and I believe in the power of practice. Through practice or through practicing, we can do wonders. I remember the proverb, by the way, it exists. I didn't, you know, come up with it. I said, okay, the name of the page is going to be Practice Makes Perfect. I'm talking about 2017, and at that time, as far as I'm concerned, I don't think like live streamings were that popular in English. So I was among the first to make live streaming in English, coming, you know, trying to bring people to talk about different kind of things in English.
Right.
And starting from that point, I was always like, my Facebook page was like a company. You see, when you come up with a company, you start with a single idea, and you always try to be creative and come up with new things. So I was trying as a teacher to say, okay, in the classroom, and this helped me a lot, being a teacher. So I know what English learners need. I know the difficulties of what they face in their daily life, what hinders them to learn English. So I was trying to implement what I do in my classes. I do it on my Facebook page. In my classes, I'm this fun and funny at the same
You teach like
time.
in private school or public school?
Private school. I started in a public school, but honestly, I didn't like it. And
Why? What's the difference?
I told you, like, I always look for a motivation. Honestly, you know, this personal point of view, by the way, in public school, for me,
Was it high school or middle school?
it was a middle school.
Oh,
There was no, you know, before it was my dream, by the way, to work in a public school. But once you get there, you say, hey, like, there is no other challenges. Like, you teach, you and other teachers are the same. There is no competitiveness. And I felt like, you know, my desires to this language, my motivations were dying. There was nothing new. Like, always you have the program, you teach it, and
you
that's
just
it.
follow the book.
Yeah, this is it. And I didn't like that. And between brackets, in private school, as they say, the best is for the strongest. If you are strong, sorry, you stay. If it's the opposite, you leave. Because, you know, when I say I work in a private high school, and I work I used to work in the British Council as well. So if you are good, you know, people are paying money to study. So if they are satisfied, they say it. If they are not, just try to put your shoes in others. You pay money and you don't learn anything. So they will complain. So in a private school, you always try to be among the best to stay. And honestly speaking, I've learned a lot. And I always have this fire inside me that pushes me to learn more in order to give more.
Yeah, it's like it's more challenging, so we try to keep the client satisfied, and you start challenging yourself, trying to get better.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
but in public school, like it's like the student doesn't have a chance.
And, you know, in fact, you said clients. There are clients, in fact.
Yeah.
But what is different from a company is that in teaching, even though it's a private school and there are clients, as I said before, but you don't treat them as you know, as business entities here, like give me money, I give you knowledge. No, you try because, you know, people who wants to take the IELTS, for example, to take the test and to go abroad, they are here. People who need it for their work, they are here. People who would like to, you know, to widen their horizons, they are here. So you feel that it's not a question of money only. So you need that you are trying to have an impact on their lives, in your society. It's not only about money, and you don't have to think that way because you are not going to succeed. You always have to treat them as you are going actually to affect their future. And this will gives you a nudge to, you know, to give always the best, to see, you know, you feel the improvement. And this is what makes you happy, more than the money, more than anything else. You see, like, hey, I have changed him to the better. He is speaking English. Now he can travel, he can work, he can study. This is just awesome.
Yeah, but it also actually makes sense because when you think about it, like people who come to a private schools, you talked about purpose. They have a purpose.
Sure.
Like they want to learn English in order to do something specific. But in public school, you got the majority probably who are just studying English in order to get the good grades so that they can pass the year. Maybe they don't have passion in English or whatever. And so how that affects you, you're just gonna be the kind of teacher who comes to, you just give the lesson and then you go back home and that's it.
Yeah.
But I think that in private school there is also certain level of freedom that you can, of course there is the book, there is the methodology, like if it's an American or British, but you got certain freedom that you probably don't have in public school.
Sure. You know, by the way, when you said public school, we all studied in public school. We were children and we didn't know what studies, what knowledge really was. We are ignorant actually. You know, in public school, even though the students come, but they are pushed by their parents. So, you know, the parents foresee the future of their kids. When we say public school, we are talking about kids or teenagers who don't know their, they don't know what they want from their lives. But when we say private schools, and here I'm talking about language school, any person who goes to a private school and pays money, they go for a purpose, as you said. They come, you find them like, they come after you. You see in public schools,
But
like
there are also
Some children who go to private schools are just pushed by their parents. I mean, I saw that before, but it's
Yeah,
a
sure.
minority. It's like a
few,
but it's different because when you go to a public school, you have multiple subjects, not only English. But when they go to a private school, they go for a mere goal, which is learning English. So maybe it's a kind of mistake that parents make, because normally we should give importance to every single subject because you are going to learn a lot. But when parents push, or sometimes they oblige them to go to study English, they say you need it in your future, you need to find a job. Now we feel now English is coming really strongly in our country if we compare it 10 years ago, and many voices now are calling for having or for substituting English rather than French. So
even people who don't know English.
yeah, so
that's the amazing part of it.
there's the amazing part of it. So parents are installing this image in their kids. So even when the kids come, out of my own experience, you ask him, why are you here? He will tell you, like, English now is important. Sometimes, believe me, they come, now most of the games are in English. And I know a student of mine who didn't get any interest first, but because of games, he said, okay, now I like English because these games, and thanks to this game, I know the importance of English. Now, even kids now, kids or teenagers, they feel it inside them that English now is more important. And this is what makes it different from public school. And also, they see the difference when they study English in a public school and in a good private school. So they see that the way of learning, it's quite different. Yeah, so you feel they are aware of what they are doing. Kids of today are not the same as before. Like they are aware, they are conscious, they know what they want.
Yeah, and that type of environment supports teachers who want to do something.
Yeah,
like it motivates you to do more because you feel, okay, so those students are interested.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do my best in order to
Sure.
satisfy them. But if they are not interested, so like regardless of how hard you work,
Yeah.
like, and no one
Oh my God.
gives a damn.
you are talking, and there is a kind of feedback. When I was working in the British Council, there was I substituted another teacher, and they were teenagers. They were like 15 to 18 years old. They adored, they cherished their teacher, and for some reasons he had to leave, and he had to take other groups. And when I was there, because of you, our teacher left. So they hated me first. And this is what I said, we don't find this in a public school. I was I have to do something so that they
like you.
They like me and they like my method. So first of all, I asked the teacher, what were you doing? And I found out that his method was, he was not using the books at all. He was using only games, when I said games, not computer, like games we use,
Yeah.
learning English through games,
Interactive
games and everything, and songs. And for example, I'm talking about the past. I've never used songs in teaching. Then I started doing my own research. How can we teach English through songs? And I came up with great methods. Great, sometimes you can be an autodidact. You teach yourself. You are a teacher. You had your training, but the world is changing. So this motivated me to try to look for new games. I had my new games, but I tried to come up with new ones so that I can, I can overwhelm them with creativeness and with something new. And also I had to learn how to use songs in teaching. And believe me, because we have we have 10 weeks in one level. Just when the level ends, and they said, okay, if you want, we can the teacher can come back. They were saying, no, we want to keep with you. You were doing great. And I was super happy. This is why I told you, this is what makes a good teacher. I remember when I was at the university, I never forget her name, Madame Ben Bouzid, who was my American civilization teacher. Once she asked us, are you satisfied? What do you think of your English? All the students were like, well, we are great, we are. She said, oh, really? She said, I'm not satisfied with myself. If I don't learn at least one word a day, it's a waste of time. So, as I said before, the world is changing. Life is moving on, and we always, confront and see and face new things. So we always have to make research. We always have to learn something new so that we can not only about satisfying, but do your job correctly. There's a difference between doing your job and doing it correctly.
Yeah, not only English, I think in every single field.
Every single field.
Yeah, if you are, I think there is an Arabic saying about this. I don't remember what it is, but I just remember that my mom used to tell me this a lot. If you're stuck, if you're gonna pause, if you're gonna stop learning, then one day you're gonna realize how far the world is ahead of you, and you're still there. And sometimes this happens also at university with university teachers who study something, who read certain books when they were young, when they were teens, or they were maybe university students, and then they start teaching and they don't do the update. So they keep saying what used to be said in 20 years ago, and they keep doing that all the time. And so as a teacher, I think it's very, very important to stay up to date with whatever is going on in the world.
Sure. And you know what? In the past, it was maybe a bit difficult for, let's be general, not only a teacher. It was difficult for any employee or even employer to improve himself or herself and to give the best. We didn't have the means, but now the means are opened. You can go to Google and just type teaching English, methodology, pedagogy, anything, and you become. Personally, I go to YouTube. For example, I have a lesson of passive active voice is one of the most difficult and boring lessons. So I go to YouTube, for example, and games related to that. How can I teach? And you come up with videos, you come up with new things, but do your research. This is one. The second thing you have mentioned, university.
How long did it take you in order to make the research about the games and come up with your own list of games?
Actually, I did. 2 years ago, I participated in a workshop. Someone who came from Morocco.
Okay.
And he did the training for us. He taught us how to use games. Then I inspired from her, and I started doing my own research. As I told you, I go to YouTube and I write. I have my notebook, and we are humans, we forget. So that I don't forget, I take notes. Mm-hmm. And there is a group on Facebook that trains teachers, and once they called me, they contacted me from my personal Facebook page. Are you interested in training teachers? I said, yeah, why not? And I decided that my theme would be about teaching English through games. Then I started making other research. When I say research, it's not out of the ordinary. Going, as I told you, Google, I typed the keyword teaching English through games or YouTube. I take notes. I use them first in my classes to see how it works, because when I say games, there is something, for example, you have a classroom and I have mine.
Mm-hmm.
Our students are different. What works for your students
Might
maybe
not work with your
with mine, yeah. So I tried to say what works for 80% everyone. I selected some games, and of course in the workshop, I started talking about English first, why teaching English, methodology of teaching English, and then I started why. It was like a question, why including games in in teaching. Then I came up with games. And what is great about games, when there is one singular game, you can change it, you can adapt it. For example, as I told you, I found something about active and passive voice.
Mm-hmm.
First, maybe you are going to think that this is related to active passive voice only, but after you can modulate, as you want. You can use it with another lesson. You can add something. You can delete something from it. It's like a dough, you see? You add ingredients, you take off some ingredients, you come
Right.
up with a new dish.
Yeah.
It's the same thing. So you add, you try. So sometimes, and believe me, when you get into that sync, you yourself, you start coming up with new ideas. Without going to Google or YouTube, you start, okay, why not having this and this game? You see? For example, on my Facebook page, the game of yes, no. It already exists.
Mm-hmm.
But I was the first to include this game in English, and it really works. First, it was just a game. And I discovered that, especially for beginners, when I ask you questions, what do you say? Just yes, no, thank you. So this game allows you to think. And many people say, how can I think in English? So it allows you to recall your vocabulary, to find other ways, not saying yes, not saying no, but how can I do that? So it allows you to think, and thinking is great. Sometimes you feel a kind of blockage, you are sabotaged, but thinking is going to open your horizons. So,
But you only reach that level to come up with your own games, like you create your own games.
Yeah, I do.
Only after doing some research.
Yeah.
There is a great line by Einstein
Yeah.
who used to say that creativity is only about connecting things.
Sure.
So that when you get to learn about game 1, game 2, game 3, game 4, then you will have certain knowledge. Maybe you will create a game 5.
Yeah,
Because you can see the pattern. You can see how those games are created, and then you're gonna do your own thing.
Sure. Up to now, I'm still using, to be honest, YouTube and Google. As I told you, research never stops. But at the same time, you come up with your own ideas.
Your own design.
And this is very, very important. Creativity is very important. A teacher, for me, must be creative. You always, because
You can't have only creative teachers. Creativity is usually very rare.
it's rare, but in teaching or in other field, for example, you have radio, you see what is happening around you, but you try to have your own print. Say, this is what I want to have, something different. The same for teachers. I get inspired, but I try to come up with things that it's not about others and not using, but to say like, hey, I did something. You feel, and this is all about motivation. When you feel that you come up with a new thing, you encourage yourself to come up with other things, you see? And just before I forget, because you were talking about...
Yeah, you said the first thing is research. The second thing is, I forgot, like the steps that you were talking about, like before interrupting you.
About games always.
Yeah, no, but we're talking about like doing what are the steps that I think that you think teachers should follow. First, you do your own research, and the second thing, I forgot what you were going to say. But it's okay, you can carry on.
Yeah. I just want to shed the light on something, because I started teaching 10 years ago, and...
You have a good experience, man.
Yeah, I do.
He approved, yes I do.
We are talking about 10 years.
Yeah, of course.
Sometimes people, when they see my face, I seem young, but I say, okay, I have 10 years of experience, because I started teaching when I was a student. I was a student at the university,
Okay.
and I just want to say something that will help English learners, or even teachers.
Yes, teachers, young teachers.
Yeah. I'm gonna tell you an anecdote that happened to me.
Mhm.
Just imagine the first year of university. I was a fresher, as they say, first year university.
You were studying English.
Yeah, and it was my major. And I was sitting. The very first shock of my life, I always refer to my teacher of American civilization. The very first contact, the very first lesson, she was my reading teacher first. We had reading, and she has an American accent, by the way. And she was like, for me that time she was like non-stop. And I was like, hey, what is she saying? And inside I said, okay, I'm not the only one. Like 50% of the audience is not understanding, or was not understanding. And then I saw a girl. She raised her hand and she said, Miss, I'm talking about reading, so we had the text and everything. She said, what does this word mean? Believe it or not. I gaped. She speaks, she's great. Only because she asked, she said, what does this word mean? Just to show you how...
For you, that was brave.
It's not brave. For me, she was a star just because she said. I want to tell you that at that time, 10 years ago, I was not able, and I was studying English in the university first year, so I was not able to form one question.
Oh, okay.
And I was not alone, but okay, I was that weak. But believe it or not, I started teaching the next year, and this is about the challenge. I started another anecdote, like a week after, another girl, the teacher was complimenting her, like, you are doing great and everything, and he said, you will be something in the future. She said, I hope so. I was like, what a beautiful expression. She said, I hope so. And I took the dictionary to look for the word hope. I didn't know what the hope meant.
That's the first year in university.
The first month, yeah, English major. The last anecdote, always with Madame Ben Bouzid, which was my American civilization teacher. You know, I don't know if Americans say that, but all the time she was like, I mean, and she was saying it too fast. It sounded like I mean. And I was confused, is I mean a person or a word in English? I swear. So I took my dictionary, I swear God, I went through all, you say A, B, C, I went through all the AM to find...
To look for Amin.
For me, it's Amin. After 2 weeks or so, I discovered that Amin is I mean. Just to show you, like, when I say this to my students, you know, to encourage them, they say, no way, like, how come, like, you are speaking this way now? And I said, nothing is impossible. And as I told you, this is about competitiveness. And thank God that happened to me, because I discovered that I was sleeping all the time and I need to move on. It's impossible that I accepted that situation. So when I say I devoured the books, I devoured them, not eating, like difference, like to show exaggerate. I devoured books. I started reading, listening. And by the way, listening is great to help you with learning new words, expressions, even with your accent, with everything. Just listen and watch YouTube. This kind of, shows, it helps a lot. And in my second year, maybe the first or the second half of the second year, I said, okay, now I overcame that problem. And even my classmates were like, Nassim, how did you do that? Like, when I came after the summer break, first year I was horrible. The summer for me, it was not a period of break. It was working hard. The second year when I came again to the university, my classmates were like, how did you, what happened? Like, you have changed, like you are speaking better than before. I said, it's just working. And then it was not enough for me to improve myself as a person. I said, okay, what can I do? And then, subhanAllah, sometimes, God guides you.
Mm.
I came across some teachers who were students at the same time. They were third and fourth year students, and they teach English at the same time. I said, how did you do that? They said, okay, we are working in this school. If you want, you can drop your CV. And I was lucky enough to find this school in Shiraga. They take the students. It's a win-win situation. They take the students, they train them to be teachers, and like you don't have a great salary, but they teach you like how to be a teacher, and it was a great experience for me. I learned how to teach from that school, and straight away I started dropping my CVs everywhere, interviews, and I was straightforward accepted for teaching, and I started like teaching and studying at the same time.
In such a young age.
Yeah, I was 20.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, and it was great, but now I regretted that I started teaching at a young age.
Why?
Because, you know, I immersed myself in teaching. I like teaching. They all know that. So I'm talking about research and everything. So my time was for teaching, not for studying. And the mistake that I made, and I regretted so badly, I neglected my studies. Starting from the second year, I was just, I just went to university to take the exam and say goodbye. As a consequence, I didn't have that great scores. Like I used to have 10, 11, 12. And I was able to be, to be among the first if I wanted. But all my energy, all my time was to teaching, yeah. And this is why I say, maybe if there are students and for me, and now I'm telling you that, now as a teacher, I value education more than before. I know what education is about. I know that I have my brothers also who are studying. I have some friends. I say, okay, study first. Money comes after. And by the way, my father died when I was very young, so I had to work to support myself, my family as well. I had some reasons. But for when I go to the ACCA and they ask me, I want to study and teach, I want to follow, I said, if you want my piece of advice, get your BA, go for a master. Try to be among the best. Try to grab a scholarship abroad. Be brilliant, and believe me, money just come after. So we need to focus first on education. You help yourself. Sometimes I say, if I studied better, I could have benefited my community better. You see what I mean? So just a piece of advice: focus more on your studies. And then do whatever this is just a personal.
I think that usually young people are really worried about money, right after they graduate.
Yeah,
they're thinking that I need to start getting paid, to start a job as soon as possible. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And I think this happens also to guys more, probably because there is some society pressure on them in order to to do something with their lives and to build a family, and you think about the future and what's waiting for you, getting married and building family and wherever.
Yeah.
But I think that if they spend some time to work on themselves, to work on their studies, and to try to get an internship, for example, in a company, a 6 months internship. Yeah, exactly. You learn. Maybe you're not getting paid, or maybe you're getting stipend, but at least you're interacting with senior managers and you're learning from people with such great experience, and then you can get a good job afterwards.
Yeah.
But try to do something at first, at least some volunteering, learn.
Thank you. I was going to talk about that. You took it from my mouth. I was going to ask you, I was going to say, Abdullah, have you noticed that in our country, the notion of volunteerism, voluntary work, is just like shadow. It's absent, contrary to other...
Underestimated. Also
maybe you have been, I think, to United States, right?
Yeah,
and
exactly.
One of the factors to be accepted, I think, in your CV or whatever, they want to see what...
You're civically engaged.
How did you engage?
Society,
what did you do for your society?
Exactly.
It's not only about money. It's about helping people. And now I'm going through some personal statements to see what people are putting in it, and I'm making some research. The university or this team admission, those who accept you and everything, they want to see how do you benefit your country, your community, regardless of the money. So I just want to say, when I was student, I didn't find someone all my surroundings. Make money. It's great. They were encouraging me to work more and to have more money and everything. I didn't have someone who tell me go try to apply for studying in England it's only 2 or 3 years ago when I started going to the ACCA that I knew that you can participate in some scholarships and go to the US, and I was ignorant. And now I said, oh, now I'm about 31 years old, and I feel like I lost my 20s. You see, only okay. I worked, and you spend your money. Believe me, maybe you
could
have
done so much better.
Yeah,
If you're focused
yeah,
on
and
something
and
like-
yeah, I'm someone who likes studies, who likes education, and now I'm a teacher, and I feel the value of education, and I teach those who take a French baccalaureate exam, and in their curriculum they have a complete chapter about education. We spoke about Malala Yousafzai, those who fought for education and to be educated and to spread education in their communities. And I said, gosh, what did I do? But anyway, I always say, education is ageless when it comes. So we always can change. I can still study. I can still make an impact. I can still. But just a piece of advice. I'm just repeating that because it's so important for me. I just would like to convey this message to our listeners, is that focus on education, guys. Money comes after.
Yeah, by the way, when did you start teaching in the ACCA? And for those who don't know what ACCA is, it's American Cultural Center in Algiers.
Right.
Right? It's a library inside the US Embassy in Algiers. You can get there. It's for free because a lot of people think like how much I'm supposed to pay. It's for free. You just bring your ID, you turn off your phone, you let them at the security, and then you go inside, and it's really amazing place. I think it starts from 9 or 10.
9 to 3.
From 9 to 3. There are amazing activities right there, and Nassim is one of the teachers who usually do certain activities there. You got a session. I think it comes every single week.
Every Monday.
Every Monday. It's called Practice Makes Perfect.
Practice makes perfect.
Where you make certain games for English learners. Do they have to be advanced or beginners, or what's the?
So first of all, there is a misunderstanding of the ACCA. Many people go there and they think that it's a school. They go, they think.
Yeah, because usually they are told that you go to ACCA to study English, to learn English. So they expect it's an academical course with their sitting with books and they're just writing,
It's completely different.
Yeah.
I call it the place of practice. If they want, I wish they put that. It's a place for practice. What do I mean? It's a place for those who already know English, who speak English. In Algeria, we speak French and Arabic. We don't hear English, outside.
They say when you say that to people who already know English or already speak English.
No, I haven't.
Familiar with
I haven't finished yet. And those who are interested in English or who are studying English, or who wants to learn English as well.
Yes.
Why I'm saying that, because I know some people. I'm going to mention, for example, Rida, the first guy I met there. He told me that when I came here, I was he knew 2 words, hello and sorry. He didn't go to school, he didn't go to any place, but the more he went there, the more he learned, and he stayed there for 2 years, 3 years, something like that. Now he speaks English really great. He speaks fluently. So it's a place open for everyone. Just to correct. You are not going to have levels on Sunday we have level 2 and then Monday we have level 3. No, I just want to say everybody is welcome. Everybody, different people from different places, backgrounds can go there. Of course, you need to be 18 and more. And as I said before, it's a place of practice. This one I said people who are interested generally in English, because you can go there. You have 6 hours a day where you can feel free. Not only interacting with the teacher, even the students or the members themselves speak English inside.
It's
So
a great network.
it's a great network. You hear English. You are not only with teachers, because with a teacher maybe you might feel shy or something, but with people of the same age, maybe you feel more at ease. You can practice, you can learn. It's just great. Knowing that we have books, you can borrow books, CDs, DVDs, internet. It's available. You can, it's just awesome. For those who take, for example, TOEFL tests and everything, there are some, these TOEFL books that can help you. Sometimes you have native speakers who have these TOEFL sessions to help you, deal with your test the correct way and everything. It's
There are
just
also American diplomats coming to do presentations.
yeah. There is this session called Let's Chat. Let's Chat is always with a native speaker.
Okay.
Someone comes and he speaks about, yeah. So coming back to your question, how did I start going to the ACCA? I remember in the book fair in 2016. I heard that something is happening there. So I went. I remember they hosted, in the United States they have like a prize for the best teacher or the best teacher of the year, something like that.
Yeah.
They welcomed it was a history teacher. She had this prize of the best teacher in the United States, and as a teacher, I wanted to know her story. How come she became the first or the best teacher there? And I was so engaged, asking questions. How did you do that? How, a lot of questions. And maybe Nadia, who works there. She was, Nadia is so, she was so focused. And she told me, like now, I said, Nadia, why did you pick me up and say, do you want to be among our team? She said, I saw that you were so engaged and you could have made the impact in our ACCA, members and community. She said, would you like to come? It was a Tuesday to have just one session and everything. I said, okay. I went there. My first session, it was about teaching idioms and proverbs.
Mm-hmm.
And then she said, would you like to maintain this, this session? I said, yeah, with great pleasure. And, I get some like messages like, how did you get this opportunity to work there? So people still, I told you before, we have this problem. People see only money and they think that I work there and I'm paid. So no, it's just go in there. And sometimes they don't believe you. Like I live so far. I live in Sidi Abdullah, by the way, Zeralda, you can say. It's far
That's far.
Yeah, to go to the ACCA with our transport, which is great. It's irony, of course. It's ironic. So people tell me, like, you cross all that, and even when I work, I said, Monday, don't touch it. Because Monday means ACCA for me. And it's so difficult, because it's private school. Sometimes they have to put you on Monday to work. So I did everything to stay there. And because I felt, as I told you before, it's not only about money, you can do something, and it's different. And I always welcome new challenges. And Alhamdulillah, it's great.
You built a reputation, a good reputation.
I
you
did.
improved your skills.
I
so
did.
People wonder, like, why do you take such a long ride from your home to ACCA, knowing that you're not going to get paid?
Because I'm learning as well.
Exactly.
I'm learning. This is about, this is what is great about volunteering. It's true that you are giving something, but you are taking. And we need to erase this picture or this image that when we take, it's only money. No, you can take an experience, building network, learning something new. So maybe you cannot get this with money. So it's not only about money. And it's my 4th year now, and I'm willing to stay there like as long as I can.
That's amazing, man. I really like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So just one last question.
Yeah.
Regarding, because you have a page called Practice Makes Perfect on Facebook and also on Instagram, where you post different stuff about learning English, and you also do some live videos.
Yeah.
My question is, aren't you having difficulties this week with the internet?
Sure. Yes, I forgot that even though I'm a teacher, but I forgot that it was Sunday, and I forgot this issue about the internet, like, they take over the internet so that people cannot cheat and everything.
What do you think about that, since you are a teacher?
It's so bad. I don't know. I think
it's so weird, because there are certain devices, I think, that just if you put them in the centers where students are having the exams,
yeah,
they can just like just disconnect people from being online or getting I don't know, what do we call that?
there is a problem. We don't. I ask myself, are we the only country that or that has exams and everything? No, exams are happening all over the world. Why we don't learn from another experience? Like we try to see what is happening in the other world. How do they cope with this situation? And we try to do the same, or we
Do
try
something better. Yeah.
something better, or it's okay to to come up with the same thing, but at least trying to find solution. This is not a solution. And we were talking before and said now there are many victims, not only Facebook page. In the morning I told you I was about to post something and I was like, why I cannot post? Like it was like turning around and okay, it's because of the internet. So I had to wait until the evening so that I can feel free and post. And now there are a lot of victims. Yesterday I was reading an article saying that there is a young girl who was supposed to participate in a competition with German people. I forgot which test it was, but because of the internet, she couldn't. She missed this opportunity to.
Yeah, it was an exam, I think, in Germany.
So it's so, and this is just one example. So it's so bad. Like I hope that we have to learn from this mistake and try to come up with other solutions.
That's right.
Yeah.
So Nassim, thank you so much for accepting our request and coming to the
Thank
Good
you.
Folks podcast.
Thank you so much for having me.
All right.
Thank you.
Take care, guys. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.